James Gunn has been a staple of the comic book movie genre for decades now. But what exactly makes his films better than everyone else? In order to understand how James Gunn became such an iconic figure in the comic book movie genre, you first have to understand how he got there. James Gunn started as a writer working for a company known as Troma Entertainment. They were known for their very low-budget, indie film B-movie aesthetic. He would get his start writing for the project Tromeo and Juliet, which, if you don't know, it's basically it's Romeo and Juliet, but a lot more blood, a lot more and screaming, and it's crazy. It's pretty crazy. But while a lot of people didn't really watch that movie, it became a cult classic almost instantly. James Gunn would take that success and build upon it with films like The Special and Tromaville Cafe. While not being seen by a whole lot of people, it would cement in the cult movie cinephile world that he was here to stay. He would even get his first go at a superhero movie with his movie Super. And I say superhero because it's not really, it's about a guy dressed up in all red who beats people up with a wrench. There's not really any superheroing involved, but the movie's called Super, so I thought I'd include it. And while a lot of these films did not receive a lot of commercial success, they did get seen by a lot of the right eyes. And apparently, two of these eyes, well, one set of eyes, let's not make this weird, but one set of eyes ended up being the right one to give him his big break in Hollywood. James Gunn's boundary-pushing writing style was perfect for the producers of the live-action Scooby-Doo movie. They were looking to make a more adult, updated version of the Scooby-Doo franchise, trying to age up with the audience that originally viewed the cartoon. There were even rumors that they were trying to make it a rated R film. And with this in mind, James Gunn went to writing on their screenplay. However, he would get his first dose of what it really means to be working in Hollywood, as the studio would come in and basically change the entire thing. They were more looking for a traditional Scooby-Doo adventure, fun, kiddie, basically what we saw, as they basically hatcheted all of his hard work to pieces. After his, let's say, tumultuous time working in the big budget Hollywood world, he would try and scale his work back and work on smaller projects, even dipping his toe into video games. After this, he went up to his agent and basically said, dude, I'm done with movies, I'm done with all this, don't even try and get me any more of these projects. And, well, of course, as agents tend to do, he said, well, okay, hold on. Let's do just one more, and then we can be done forever. And as it turns out, that one more ended up being with the MCU, and the project ended up being Guardians of the Galaxy. Most people know the James Gunn story from here. Guardians of the Galaxy was a global hit, launching the MCU in an entirely new direction, as well as launching James Gunn's new career in Hollywood, giving him that pull that he finally has been needed, and he got some leverage. But why did Guardians of the Galaxy and Gunn's subsequent superhero films work so well? There's a few key factors to every Gunn superhero movie that makes them work. First and foremost is the heart. Each one of James Gunn's film has a heart and soul to every character, every storyline. You can feel it. The audience can feel it, you can feel it, he can feel it. Every one of his superhero projects has a soul to them that the audience can feel. Whether it's a billionaire trying to kill an alien or a man trying to take over the universe, he always brings it down back to the human level, something that anybody across the world can connect with, whether or not you are a billionaire or an alien. I don't know how many aliens are watching Superman, but hey, maybe there's one out there amongst us. We don't know. His films always have something much deeper and much more human at its core. He finds ways to ground events, no matter how spectacular, down to the human level. So in Guardians of the Galaxy, when Peter is holding an Infinity Stone, who else does he see but his dying mother reaching her hand out, asking him to hold his hand? This moment that is the pinnacle of everything that we've seen so far should be spectacular and huge and big explosions everywhere, but we're brought back down to the real meaning of the story, and it is a boy who never got to say goodbye to his mother. And if that doesn't make you tear up, then I don't know what will. And this isn't just in the first Guardians of the Galaxy film either. In the second one, there's the connection between Rocket and Yondu that is the driving force that ends up going into the third movie, where it's just all emotions all the time. If you didn't cry during Guardians of the Galaxy 3, you must have seen the wrong movie. And looking at Gunn's latest movie, Superman, you can see at the core of it, it's just about a guy who wants to do the right thing, even when the world is telling him that what he's doing is wrong and he should take a step back. It's about a guy who says, no, I know what I'm doing, I know that I'm right, and he takes that step forward anyways. Despite all the money and the stars and the action scenes and all the CGI, whatever, there is a core to each of his films that is a human element that every single audience member, whether or not that's actually happened to you or not, can at least relate to on some level. Because while heart is essential to making a great superhero film, these movies also have a really big budget. Seeing the spectacle is why a lot of general audience members go to see these superhero movies. James Gunn knows this and is not afraid to use every single penny that he can to give the audience a visual spectacle on screen. Not only are his films great to look at, with visually interesting shots and camera movements, but they also get better as they go along. Tracking the progression from Guardians of the Galaxy 1 all the way to the latest season of Peacemaker, you can see the difference. You can see the confidence in James Gunn in his ability grow with each new film. In his more recent films, you can see that the camera is much more fluid throughout the scene, not being afraid to do a crazy pan or whip or truck or whatever the scene calls for, especially during the action moments. He is very aware that part of the reason a lot of people go see these movies is to see the amazing action scenes that we all imagine while reading the comic books as a kid put on the big screen. So whether or not it's the Warner from Guardians of the Galaxy 3 or the Superman baseball fight scene in Superman, we can get a visual treat that we haven't seen before and get a bunch of moments that we don't expect. It's just good. It's just good at the end of the day. Another common thread throughout all of James Gunn's work is his love for the underdog. The people that have been stepped over, looked past, or counted out seem to be a focal point in each one of his films. He seems to thrive off bringing characters that nobody knows or likes to the silver screen. And this works to his advantage in a few different ways. For one, since nobody really knows who they are, he can change different aspects of the character to fit the story that he wants to tell. And since nobody really knows who they are, nobody's really offended when, I don't know, let's say Bloodsport is slightly different than his comic book origin. Most of us, at some point in our lives, will feel like the underdog in our own story. James Gunn uses this and channels that energy into his characters so that the audience can see themselves in these people. Even with a character like Superman, who on the outside is kind of perfect, there is a lot more going on inside that makes him the underdog. I mean, we can even talk about the fact that his power level is the weakest that we've seen on screen so far. This is by no mistake. James Gunn wants even a character like Superman to feel like an underdog in his own story. He wants us to relate to a character that many people find unrelatable. It is through this connection with the characters that Gunn builds with the audience that makes us want to root for them. Like we're watching a team full of Rocky Balboas. James Gunn has truly made his mark on Hollywood and the film industry as a whole with his contributions to the comic book genre. And now that he's the head of DC, it looks like he'll have basically free reign to do whatever he wants with that universe. And when looking at his track record, it is easy to get excited of what could be next for the DC universe. What is your favorite James Gunn superhero film? What made you like it so much? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, thank you for watching ScreenRant, and be sure to check out more of our videos on your favorite franchises.